I'm struggling with some of the controversies about justification within today's Western church, and not least within some of the reformed elements of today's Western church. And some of you will be very familiar with those controversies. And I'll tell you how it seemed to me as I engage in those debates. I and others have been trying over some years to present a vision of who Paul is and what he's about and what his gospel really was about, which is a big picture. It's a big picture about God and about God's plan for the whole creation, and God bringing all things together in Christ, and the coming together of Jew and Gentile in Christ as one of the great signs of that in the early church. And so when people say, oh no, we don't like that, we really want this gospel which tells me that I'm a sinner, me that I'm saved by grace, and me that I'm going home to heaven, then I'll tell you what that feels like. I have an image in mind which I use in the book. Imagine that you had a friend who had never realized that the earth goes round the sun, and really still did believe that the sun goes round the earth, because after all that's what it looks like. And imagine on discovering this one evening, you take it upon yourself to give your friend a basic astronomy lesson. And you clear the coffee table and you arrange books and vases and cups and things on the table to represent the Earth and the other planets. And here's the sun, and actually this is how it works, and here's the moon as well. And you show the whole thing, and it all sort of makes sense. And your friend looks really quite puzzled. This is quite disturbing. And then you have a drink, you go to bed. Next morning, tap on your door. He wakes you up and says, it's going to be a lovely day. Why don't we go for a little walk? And the friend takes you on a walk up the hill, and it's just before sunrise. And there you're standing on the hill together, and this great big golden red flaming ball comes up out of the sea or out of the desert or wherever it is. And you just stand there in awe at the sight, and then you can feel it coming. You can feel it coming. He says, now, I know you have these clever theories. I know you have these, it's really quite convincing up to a point, but actually, now you've seen it with your own eyes. Now, I can imagine there may be some here who, like the Pharisees faced with Jesus telling the parable of the wicked tenants, will be cross knowing that this story is told against them. But that's how I find it. And I know it's how some other writers in the so-called broadly new perspective on Paul find it. It's hard to have the debate when people say, yeah, we hear what you say, but actually we are saved by grace through faith, so can't you see that that's what it's all about? And we'll say, yes, I know that's from our perspective, yes. The glory is that the Son of Righteousness rises with healing in his wings. That's how it is. But actually, and the actually is a Pauline actually, it's all about God and God's kingdom and God's future for God's world. And if we close things back in on ourselves, we actually make a huge, major theological mistake.